Good evening and welcome to the Laverne Planning Commission meeting. It is August 29th, 2023, and it is 6 p.m. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the July 25th, 2023 regular meeting.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Commissioner Molinar. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Coates. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we're moving on to the public comment period. We do have one person signed up, Mr. Donnie Fergus. If you'll come forward, state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Jason, board members. My name is Donnie Fergus. I live at 159 Fergus Drive. My family's been there since 1919. The proposal that I've seen, they wanted to rezone our property to agricultural. Currently, we are zoned as industrial, and I would like to keep it that way because that's protecting the value of the property in a future date. We're currently running a farming operation there. We've got animals on the property. I cut hay off of it occasionally and stuff like that. So we're going to stay as we are. I don't plan on going anywhere, but what I'm trying to do is protect the value of the property for my daughters and my grandchildren on down the road. You know, me and my wife, we've had things happen in our life that we don't want to make any changes at this point in time. So I don't want anybody to think that we're, wanting to move. So I'd like to keep the property zoned industrial, which that keeps the value of it at the highest it can be for the area it's in. So we'd just like to express that. Some of you I've met, some of you haven't. But like I said, we've been here for a long time. So I'd like to talk to all of you if we get a chance. But in the last couple of weeks, I've tried to get over to several of you. So, but anyway, and Jason was good enough to get me some names yesterday because I kept running into dead ends. I knew the names, but I couldn't find numbers. So, but anyway, I just wanted to express my concern about rezoning it to agriculture. So, because that would devalue the property. So I'd like to keep it where it's at to protect the value of it for future generations in my family. So, so I appreciate your time and thank you. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to old business. Recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for subdivision acceptance. Lieutenant Frank Walkup, phases 1 and 2, property located off of Jones Mill Road, requested by Womble and Associates. This is R1 low density residential zoning district, and this has been deferred. Number 4 is site plan 142 Stones River Road, 2 buildings totaling 8,000 square feet containing showroom with office and indoor storage on 8.61 acres. This was requested by Jim Nyquist, property located 142 Stones River Road, tax map 15M, Group C, Parcel 1, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District. This property is owned by Titan Home Builders, LLC. The applicant has used all deferrals and has not resubmitted. Mr. Logan.
Yes, staff has reached out to this applicant, and they did ask how many times they could apply to the Planning Commission, and we informed them that they can apply more than once. There's no calendar or expiration date for a site plan that gets disapproved at the Planning Commission. Unlike a rezoning, I believe a rezoning has to sit out for 12 months before it can ask for the same piece of land to be rezoned. There's no rule like that on site plans. So this was a phone conversation. They indicated that they might resubmit at some point. So after the third deferral, which was the end of July, they were notified that they had run out of deferrals, and they were advised to resubmit, but of course you can't make anybody resubmit. So that's where we're at. Thanks.
Gary, anything you want to add?
No, sir. We have a stop work order on them. They did a bunch of work on that site outside of a land disturbance permit, but they've received their letter, and it's been quiet since then.
Okay, so we have this item that we do have to vote on, and there are outstanding items. Anything from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to deny as submitted due to the 36 items as listed on the staff reports dated for this evening.
I have a motion to deny. Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, preliminary plat, Marlowe Laverne, 2 lots on 27.49 acres, requested by Kimley Horn. Property located at 243 Blair Road, tax map 32, parcel 6. This is an R3 high-density zoning residential district. This property is owned by Martin Schaffner, and this item has been withdrawn, as has the concept plan. So 5 and 6 are both withdrawn. Moving on to 7, final plat, Portico Place, Section 2, Phase 2, and re-subdivision of common areas A and B of Section 2, Phase 1, 52 lots on 15.69 acres, requested by SEC Incorporated, property located on Blair Road, tax map 29, parcel 20.04, PDR, Planned Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Blair Road LLC. This item is deferred. Moving on to number 9, site plan, Power Equipment Company, parking expansion on 16.7 acres, requested by Dewey Engineering Incorporated, property located at 320 Waldron Road, tax map 17, parcel 5.01, I-2 heavy industrial and C2 highway service commercial zoning districts, property owned by Power Equipment Company. Mr. Logan.
This is a request for site plan approval, and this property is located on Waldron Road at 320 Waldron Road, and you can see here on the screen the existing facility, sort of a T-shaped facility. There's equipment on display out front, and this site plan is only to expand the parking areas to the south of the building and also to add a loading dock roughly in this area in the front of the building. So they're not building any new structures with this site plan. And zooming out, you can see the property and surrounding vicinity. Again, it's outlined in blue. And on the zoning map, the navy blue indicates I-2, which is heavy industrial. And then the red is commercial zoning. That's C2 zoning. So this parcel does have commercial zoning at the front next to the road, and then industrial in the rear. And some photos of the site. You can see they have a lot of equipment that they deal with in their business day to day. They do have a lot of, from their site plan back in 2019, they do have a lot of driveways and impervious surfaces. Here's some more equipment. And then this is the front of the building, some of the equipment that's on display. So moving on to the site plan, you can see on this screen the areas that this plan encompasses. So here's the parking area to the south that they are adding, and then the loading dock is shown here, this square, and then this is, of course, Waldron Road running north and south. And I do believe all the comments were addressed on this one. Yes, there's no outstanding comments from the workshop, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Lyde in case he wants to say anything.
No, sir, I'm good.
Does anyone have any questions?
Make a motion to accept as submitted?
Have a motion to accept as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to number 10, final plat, 119 Cheney Boulevard, 5 lots on approximately 0.66 acres, requested by JTA Land Surveying Incorporated. Property located at 119 Cheney Boulevard, tax map 18P, Group C, Parcel 3, R3 High Density Residential Zoning District. This property is owned by Amir Angley, and this is deferred. Moving on to new business. Recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, rezoning of property requested by DSG Incorporated, 9.33 acres, property located at 31 Lillian Buchanan Drive, tax map 14, parcel 72, currently zoned C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, proposed zoning R3 High Density Residential Zoning District. Property is owned by Richland South LLC. Mr. Logan.
So this rezoning request is just down the road here on Murfreesboro Road. This is 9.33 acres, and it's behind the Laverne Post Office as well as the Dunkin' Donuts and Marco's Pizza. You see it there on the screen. So this is Murfreesboro Road at the bottom of the screen, and these are the Central Park Villas, the multifamily development that is existing. So zooming out, you can see Veterans Memorial Park and the ball fields to the north. This property is currently zoned commercial, so it's C2, and the applicant is requesting R3, which is high-density zoning. They would like to pursue the development of a multifamily housing development. And this road here is Lillian Buchanan. And of course, that's the post office here on the corner. So it is a large area, 9.3 acres, give or take. And on the zoning map, you can see, again, the red is C2, which is commercial zoning. Then the green, which you can see to either side, is R3, which is existing townhomes and other multifamily dwellings. And then, of course, all the frontage right now on Murfreesboro Road is C2 on both sides of the road. This picture is from Lillian Buchanan, and you can see in the distance the existing multifamily units that are there, and then the vacant land is here. There is existing sidewalk on Lillian Buchanan. So moving a little bit more toward the south and east, this is the Carpenter's Trade, Mid-South Carpenter's Trade School. And then, of course, more vacant land here between Lillian Buchanan and the school. And you can see some rooftops in the distance of the existing townhomes. So this screen shows the plan that was submitted. So again, this is the 9.3 acres. Roughly an L shape, and you can see the neighboring properties and quite a bit of R3 on both sides as well as behind it that's already existing. And then you can see these out parcels on Murfreesboro Road. And of course, the predominant zoning in the area is C2 and R3, and that's really the only two zoning districts. And I believe that covers everything, so turn it over to you all. Thanks.
Bo, can you go back to the zoning map real quick?
Yeah.
Just want to clarify, because on the outside of that outline for the actual parcel, you see a strip of commercial behind it, but that's not a separate parcel.
It is not. It appears that the GIS just doesn't match. The fancy word is polygon. So the polygon that was drawn by whoever drew it on the map just doesn't match the assessor's property lines.
Okay, I just wanted that to clarify. There's not going to be just a strip left behind there. That's not buildable. Does anyone have any questions?
Is the applicant here this evening?
Absolutely. If you could please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Yep, Josh Hamby, 6000 Fairview Road, Suite 1530, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28210.
Couple of questions. Lower referring to the rezoning for that particular area. Could you just explain what your plan is for the rest of the development going across down Mosbar Road, what you intend to put in there?
Absolutely. So looking at the plan, we'll start plan left, so plan west. At the multifamily, the area labeled future commercial is really set aside for infrastructure. So obviously, as you saw in Bo's photos, that is all green today, and we'll be creating close to 100% impervious. So that future commercial area is slated for a stormwater pond. The eastern half of that will service the 5 retail outparcels. And so we're looking at a mix of roughly 3 restaurants, a grocery store, and then some more service-related retail, yet to be leased, but looking at a single multi-tenant structure most likely as well.
As far as the proposed multifamily, can you just explain the amount, your expected amount of buildings and
So the current,
facades and what it's going to be do for
yeah,
that
so
area?
we're really between 2 site plans right now due to feasibility issues. One shows 2 3-story structures, one shows a single 4-story structure and a single 2-story structure, a bit more divided with parking field in between. Both of these will be traditional Class A garden-style walk-up multifamily unless we do end up going 4 stories, which will require, vertical transportation. But it's really just to create, Laverne's first live, play, live at the grocery store, walk to the grocery store, walk and grab your cup of coffee in the morning. So it's just to provide further connectivity with the retail development across the street and a new product offering.
Can you just explain, if you would, the Veterans Memorial, you're indicating a proposed signalization there, or what's the plan for that?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So the goal would be to install a new decel lane as well as the light. Our current design, what we've talked with DOT, has involved widening the throat there to allow for a right in. Additionally, we would string it per city code, and that would allow greater ingress egress. We are trying to accommodate an east-west connection through the multifamily property as well between Floyd Mayfield and William Buchanan, but that's yet to be seen as far as feasibility for design goes as well.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions? Nope. Okay, need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion
I'm sorry.
approved as submitted.
It's not, I'm sorry, it's not a motion to approve or deny. This is a recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, so I need either a favorable or an unfavorable recommendation.
I make a motion for a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion for a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, or recommendation passes. Moving on to number 12, site plan, Cheney Place, 50 townhomes on 4.3 acres requested by SEC, property located on Cheney Boulevard, tax map 28, parcels 10 and 11, R3 High Density Zoning District. Property is owned by Old South Properties Incorporated. Mr. Logan.
This is a request for site plan approval for Cheney Place, which will include 50 new townhomes. And on the screen currently is the property. So this is Cheney Boulevard, north and south. And so between Cheney and Summit Place, or Summit Lane, is the property. It's roughly 4.3 acres. There's 2 dwellings, and we'll see a picture of that in a moment, but there are a couple dwellings on the property that will be removed, of course, to make way for the new development. And this property was rezoned about 1 year ago. So a little bit wider view, and you can see Laverne High School at the very bottom of the screen. And this is Cheney as you go north, and this property's on the right. And zoning map. It shows the R3 zoning. There's actually quite a bit of R3 zoning on both sides of Cheney as you go north toward Old Nashville Highway. So currently, there's a lot of trees on the property. There's one of the homes here in the photo, and then the other dwelling is a mobile home. And there's a gravel driveway that runs between both of those. So moving on to the plan, this shows the layout of the development. So there are 50 townhomes proposed. The mail kiosk will be located near the entrance of the development. And they do have dumpster enclosures indicated near the south side. And since the workshop, the applicant has updated the required buffer, so the buffer that will have to be installed is now shown as the property just to the south is still zoned agriculture. And then there is a playground also shown in the center of the development. And then you can see the arrangement of all the units, more or less in the shape of a horseshoe with some units in the middle. And there's no outstanding planning comments. I do see some comments, looks like from engineering. So I'll turn that over to Mr. Ladd.
Okay, the comments from engineering are mainly due to my getting a little confused on this one. They submitted a concept plan, and then this was a site plan. So one of my comments last go-round was that you need to submit a preliminary plat, because that's the next thing after a concept plan. So we have a subdivision regulation requirements for the concept plan, and then zoning ordinance requirements for the site plan. So I've spoken with their engineer, and they do intend to sell these as individual condos, basically. So it is an individually sold off thing. And they did provide a preliminary plat, although y'all can't actually act on it since it's, I don't think, because it's a site plan on the agenda. But their intent, as shown by this, could you go to sheet 107? Back to, there you are. Okay, so their intent is to use the platting process solely for the dedication of the easements and get their approval to build these things from the site plan. So based on that, the comments I've got are only comments on the preliminary plat, and they addressed all the comments from the site plan. If y'all look as confused as I am by this.
It did. I'm just wanting to make sure, and we may need the attorney to weigh in on this, Evan, if you don't mind, as far as if our process says that the next step is supposed to be a preliminary plat, and this was submitted as a site plan, that would be, I don't know if that would be allowable to go outside of that order.
Right, I don't think so either. Yeah.
Do we have the applicant? Hello, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
John Miner with SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro. It is a confusing process, but in order to establish the easement locations, you have to have a site plan. So they both kind of have to come first.
Gary, how does that work?
Well, we're into Bo's world here, but honestly, I expected to see a preliminary plat that was for this entire thing that showed the buildings and met the, because if you read through the preliminary plat requirements and subdivision regulations, they say, you know, show all the buildings if they're going to be condos, show this, show that, show the other. So that's what I expected to see, which prompted a very long conversation between myself and Mr. Miner, where he was trying to explain it to me, what I just explained to you. So, I mean, in terms of the understanding of the process, I'll turn it over to Bo.
Well, I think the confusion may be in a typical townhome development or condominium development, you would have common area. So the common area would not necessarily need to be platted to the city. I'm assuming there's utility extensions on this project that are being platted to the city.
Correct.
So if that were not the case, I don't know that we'd need any plat.
In common areas, typically, that remains with the HOA of the
Correct.
organization,
And-
not to the city.
No, and I didn't say that. I was saying a typical development that has no reason to plat these utilities, we wouldn't even have a plat. You'd just go straight to site plan. Apartment complexes don't have plats unless they're dedicating utilities to the city. For whatever reason, this project has to, the utilities weren't there. So there's got to be a process to do both. But I don't think the site plan's out of order tonight. I don't see how we can go this far without having the site plan considered tonight on this type of development.
You will also see it 3 more times, once for the preliminary plat, once for the HBR plat, and once for the final plat.
Anything from anyone else?
I think we also need to adhere to our rules and regulations, so, we've got to get this correct. Obviously, legals give us their opinion, and I tend to follow with those, is we've got to follow our procedures, and unfortunately, it looks like we've got to be back to front on here, but wishes hadn't got organised before we got to this point tonight, but that's, here we are.
I'm going to make a motion to defer this by a month. That should hopefully be enough time for you to get a preliminary plat over to us, and we can address this all next month. So my motion is to defer this to next month. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
See you next month, sir.
Mayor, I have a question. Does this count as a deferral?
No, not for their purposes, because we're instituting it. Next, we have concept plan, Sand Hill Villas, 7 lots on .87 acres, requested by Southern Precision Land Surveying, Incorporated, property located on Sand Hill Road, tax map 14, parcel 48, R3, high-density residential zoning district. This property is owned by Sand Hill Partners, LLC. Mr. Logan.
So this is the preliminary plat for Sand Hill Villas. And also on the agenda under old business is their concept plan. So these 2 items will need to be heard together. They're proposing 7 lots on .87 acres. And you can see here on the screen, it's a very small piece of property, but it is on the north side of Sand Hill. And previously this project was approved for a row of 7 townhomes, which was then changed to 3 and 4, divided by a parking lot. But at the end of the day, they were approved for 7 townhomes, and then the property sold to a new owner who wishes to build single-family instead of townhomes. So that's the reason that we have a plan for 7 lots now. So zooming out, you can see a very large area of R3 with townhomes, and this property is this small area that's sort of wooded. Some of the trees now are down, but when this photo was taken, it was a wooded area. And again, you can see a little bit closer up how the neighboring sites have developed around this parcel. This property was rezoned last year in 2022 to R3. It was agricultural. So you can see there on the map, this green color is R3. And this is what it looks like today. After the previous plan was approved, the applicant did get a grading permit, started moving dirt and moving rock. So they installed a silt fence, which is in this photo. And this is looking east on Sand Hill Road as you go over the hill. And you also see the silt fence on the left. So moving into this plan, you can see the layout of the 7 lots. They did install a private drive in the front because particular concern was having 7 new driveways on Sand Hill with limited sight distance, so that was an issue. So to overcome that, they've installed a drive in the front that would then serve each of the 7 lots. And this plan, of course, has been here several months, so most of the comments have been already addressed. And I don't believe there's anything outstanding from planning or engineering, so that,
Well, I just want to address something.
oh, Mr. Lott does have one comment.
If you could go back to 131 out of 231, please. You're at 109 now, so go way ahead. More. There you go. All right, so I talked to the fire marshal, Curtis Brinkley, and his comment about the fire department access is still not acceptable. He meant to take that off. So, because what they have done is they have added a second entrance here. So they have an entrance as far into the straightaway as they can get it, and a second entrance right at the high point of the road, which has, if you're going to be in this area, that's the best place to put it. So that is less than 150 feet, so it now meets the NFPA requirements. So there's a couple of minor comments left about which of the 2 water lines in front for them to tie to. They'll work that out with Scott Tatalovich. But they do have water service, and they do have sanitary sewer service. Entrance 1, entrance 2 meets the fire marshal's comments.
Okay, do we have an applicant here? Name and address, please.
Good evening. Brian Hamilton, Nashville Civil, 751st Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, so just for clarification, first we're going to be dealing with a concept plan. So does anyone have any questions about that? This will be number 8 in your packet. Any questions for staff or the applicant on the concept plan? If there's none, we need a motion to approve or deny.
Mr. Chairman, just have a couple of questions. Now we'll jump to that. So on the concept plan, what is the width of the driveways? It doesn't appear to be indicated.
20 feet is the easement for the shared drive, 24 for the entrance, and there was 36 for the exit for the fire truck. It was it's not really 2 entrances. One of them is an exit for the fire truck to get him back onto Sand Hill.
Okay, so both entrance and exit, what are their width? Are they 36 both, or?
Well, it can be. That's more about it would be construction plans. So we were really just putting that on there because of the workshop to not have 7 driveways, to have 1. So we did that. Then the fire truck needed to get back onto Sand Hill, so we did that. So it's not designed, but it will be the next step. Construction plans. So we're allocating just the idea of the one shared entrance, and then the exit to then get the fire truck back.
Okay, so I understand we're dealing with the concept, but as a preliminary plat, I would expect to have the dimensions put on there.
Okay. A preliminary plat usually doesn't. It's not a site plan. That's kind of what I think we talked about on a couple projects ago. But yes, I mean, clarify that. Everybody's gonna be satisfied with that, you know, when it's designed. Construction plans.
Any other questions?
Just comment, I'm just glad that we don't have cars backing out on the sandhills. So
Sure.
that was
Yeah.
my main issue, and we've got a 20-foot drive that everyone is sharing. We have a 36-foot, main entrance and, exit onto Sand Hill, so the fire department's happy. And then we can get that truck out of there on the other end.
Correct, yeah.
Do have one quick question. How do you intend to make sure that the quote-unquote exit is only an exit, not an entrance?
So there's barricades, or there's different type things that can be used that, there's a typical type barricade that is used for those type of situations. It's a gate,
Okay.
and it's got a certain red and white, kind of caution. It doesn't say caution, but it has the red and white,
Okay.
I can bring a detail of it, or it'll be on the construction plans.
Okay.
Um,
Anyone have any other questions?
Now, the last meeting in that gate, you mentioned that it would automatically open with the fire truck. Nobody have to get out and manually open or close it.
I'm not sure that was indicated, the automatic portion of it.
I think that's what the fire marshal had brought up.
I talked to Curtis about this. He said that they were okay with what's, been presented.
He mentioned a couple different options, including a box that when it hears the sirens, it opens, but he didn't say specifics.
And does this development have to have a kiosk, a mail kiosk?
Just about everything now
It's open.
has to have a mailbox kiosk.
The post
So-
office, yeah, they've kind of done that.
Well, from my standpoint, I would prefer just have the two entrances rather than having a gate or a crash gate. I mean, just to get people in and out there. It's a very busy road, Sand Hill, and so I would just prefer to have it just two entrances to come in and come out.
We would do that definitely, and I think the eventual homeowners would like that as well.
Okay, any other comments on the concept plan? If not, I would need a motion to approve or deny.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Concept plan passes. Then we're on to the preliminary plat portion, which is 13 in your packet. So I believe Bo and Gary covered all of both the preliminary and the concept. So does anyone have any questions?
I would just encourage the applicant to listen to what this board said this evening as you move forward with the application. Just listen to what's been said and then come back with your thoughts and ideas.
Absolutely.
Okay, need a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
14, final plat, The Ridge, Phase 3, re-subdivide lots 315, 316, and 317, requested by Womble and Associates. Property located on Sweet Maple Knoll, tax map 29, parcels 30, 31, and 32, R2 medium density residential zoning district. This property is owned by Mitchell Bowman, DBA, F&B Development, Anthony Trimboli, and Lindsay Todetter. If I mispronounce that, my apologies. Mr. Logan.
This is a request from The Ridge. It's a request to combine 3 lots and change the boundaries of 3 lots so that the 3 lots become 2 after the subdivision is accepted. You can see the lot layout currently. There's 3 lots, and this is on Sweet Maple Knoll and Rocky Trail. Rocky Trail is the road to the right here. When this is finished, lot 316 will be eliminated, So just zooming out a little, you can see the 3 lots also in relation to the rest of the ridge. And this is the zoning map. The darker brown here is R2, medium density residential. And you can see this orange color is R1, which is low density. Again, this will just combine 2 of the smaller lots into 1 large lot. This is a photo from Rocky Trail and Chimney Ridge. And zooming out a little bit further, you can see the existing homes that are fairly new, and then the vacant corner here is the area that we're talking about. This is the plat submitted by the applicant. And you can see here in the middle is where lot 316 is today, and it'll be eliminated after the lots are combined and the plat's recorded. There's no technical comments remaining on this project, so this completes the report. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, with all the items been addressed by staff, I make a motion to accept as submitted.
I've got a quick comment before.
Go ahead.
The homeowner, Anthony Trimboli, he did approach me while I was doing a little bit of gardening. He had indicated that this came to be because when he purchased the home, he had talked to Michaels about putting in a pool. And after all was said and done, they realized that with setbacks and all, said pool would not have fit. So Michaels then, in order to make nice, decided to resubmit and change some lot lines there and give him a little more room for his pool. So that's why we are at this place. And then, of course, the 2 lots, by giving Mr. Trimboli a little more room, the other 2 lots would be a little bit small for the neighborhood. So, it's still something that the neighborhood wants, and it's a good thing, so I will second your motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 15, site plan, 84 Lumber, create additional storage yard on 42.45 acres requested by SEC Incorporated, properly located on Wheeler Street, tax map 18K, parcel 13, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District. This property is owned by 84 Lumber Company. Mr. Logan.
This is a request for site plan approval at 84 Lumber. And on the screen, you can see their existing facility at the end of Wheeler Street. So this is Wheeler Street near the bottom. And then this entire area is 84 Lumber. And there are quite a bit of trees and forested land around the 84 Lumber site. And as you zoom out, you can see just how large of a facility it is, especially with the surrounding pavement and gravel areas. This is Walmart for comparison to the north, and this is the Walmart parking lot. So it's not quite as big as Walmart, but it's approaching. So the property, the dark blue is I-2 Heavy Industrial, and then the light blue along the rest of Wheeler is I-1 Light Industrial. So the Heavy Industrial is where 84 Lumber is located currently. And here's some site photos. And you can see there's a lot of activity there day to day and a lot of materials passing through. It's a very large operation. And there's another photo there of some equipment loading some trusses. The purpose of this site plan is only to build a storage yard. They're not building any buildings with this plan. And this is a closer view of the site plan. And you can see this is off to the top left is the existing building and the other facilities. And then this shaded area is the area where they would like to build the storage yard. And then down at the bottom is where Wheeler Street ends and the 84 Lumber property begins. And I think all the comments have been addressed on this site as well. So that completes the report. Thanks.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? If not, I need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 16. Preliminary plat, Arbor Ridge, sections 1, 2, and 3, 95 lots of approximately 32 acres. This is requested by SEC Incorporated, property located off Waldron Road, tax map 32, parcel 4, PDR, Planned Density Residential Zoning District. This property is owned by Starlight Homes of Tennessee, LLC. Mr. Logan.
This request is for preliminary plat approval at Arbor Ridge, and these are sections 1, 2, and 3, and you can see there on the screen. This is Rock Springs Elementary School at the bottom, and this blue line goes around the perimeter. That's about 214 acres, give or take, and so these sections for Arbor Ridge will be located roughly in the middle of this 214 acres and then to the south of the middle as you go toward the intersection of Lake Road. And zooming out, you can see, again, we're talking about this area here. It's all south of Blair and east of Waldron. And the property is zoned planned density residential. These sections were approved approximately 1 year ago this month. And the applicant just resubmitted because they were under the clock. They had 1 year to make progress, and they wanted to resubmit these so that they could keep their approval. So there wasn't a whole lot to look at. I don't think Mr. Light had any comments either. So that completes the report. Thanks.
Does anyone have any questions? Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second and third. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Preliminary plat, Arbor Ridge, sections 5 and 10, 137 lots on approximately 53.13 acres, requested by SEC Incorporated, property located off Waldron Road, tax map 32, parcel 4, PDR, Planned Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Starlight Homes of Tennessee, LLC. Mr. Logan.
So this is the same area, of course, for Arbor Ridge, and this request is for preliminary plat approval at sections 5 and 10. So again, Rock Springs Elementary School, bottom left, and then this development to the right. This is the vineyards, and some of that's in Smyrna, and the northern parts in Laverne, of course. And here's some photos. So in this photo, this is Lake Road, and Waldron is crossing in front of you, left to right. The school's on your right out of the photo. And this is the sign that's out there today. Oops, excuse me. This is the sign that's out there today for Arbor Ridge that says coming soon. These phases are, or excuse me, these sections are close to this area as well. So this is the entire master plan that was submitted by the applicant. And you can see this is section 5 here, and then 10 is a little bit further up in this image. So north is to your left in this photo. So these are pretty far down to the south of in the entire 214 acres. They're on the southern border of the property. And there are some detail sheets that show the lot layouts and the arrangement. All the lots in this development are still proposed to be between 41 feet and 50 feet wide, and that was approved with the original design book when Arbor Ridge passed. There's no outstanding comments that I'm aware of, and engineering has none, so that completes the report.
Anyone have any questions? Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to final plat. 5486 Murfreesboro Road, lots 3 and 4. Combined 2 lots to total 1.96 acres requested by James Lukens. Property located at 5486 Murfreesboro Road, tax map 18B, Group E, parcels 5 and 5.02, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District. This property is owned by Jemsid Shafari, Jemsid Mohibi, and Payman bin Rousey. Mr. Logan.
So this is a final plat request for approval at 5486 and 5500 Murfreesboro, and this plat would combine these 2 lots. So roughly a year ago, last summer, we met with the applicant, and they had designed a building, but the property line was an issue. I think part of the building was on top of the property line, so they had to rectify that, and the way to do that was to combine these 2 lots. So we'll have a photo in a moment of this building, but this is the building that most of you know started construction around, I think it's June of 2019, and a lot of the building's complete, but they never did finish everything, and it's not 100% complete. So it's some people refer to it as the building that's been under construction for 4 years, and that's probably accurate also. The new building that you'll see in the site plan will be pushed to the rear and further away from Murfreesboro Road. It gets closer to this railroad track. You'll see that in the next item. But currently, these are the lot lines. This blue, the existing 5500 building is on its own lot, and then the older storage building, it was kind of dilapidated, run down, but they did demolish that a couple years back, and that's what you're seeing there is the leftover slab from that old building that was torn down. So zooming out, of course, this is basically across from Walmart, and this is Washtopia, the neighbor just to the north and east. And zoning map, everything here is C2, highway commercial. Okay, so this, and we'll see this again in the next item for the site plan, but this is the existing building that's not finished. They've still got several site improvements to make, some water and sewer utility issues and things that are not complete, but this is what's out there today, and that's what it looks like. So this building, Murfreesboro Road, is just off to the left, out of sight, but so this building is turned so that the side is actually facing Murfreesboro Road, and then the actual front is at a 90-degree angle to Murfreesboro Road. So the plat submitted fairly simple, just shows the lot 2 or lot 3 and again shows the existing building and then the existing slab of concrete. So this line will be abandoned in the middle when the plat's recorded, and it'll be one parcel that's ready for the new building. And I don't think the plat has no comments, so that's all for the report. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions?
I still got to say, from the workshop we discussed, my concern is the roadway not lining up with the entranceway from the proposed building will give some concern for traffic. I still have a concern about that.
And yes, sir, that'll be discussed in detail on the site plan. This is just the consolidation plat.
So any questions about consolidation?
Is the applicant here? Or?
Yes. You can come up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Jim Lukens Engineering, 256 Seaboard Lane, Franklin, Tennessee.
All right. Just refresh my memory. In the workshop, is the building going to be, let's say, of similar style and look to the existing building? The second one that you're building?
It complements the existing building, and it'll face the street, so the retail will get a lot more visibility.
Okay. All right.
And I have some elevations here.
Okay, great.
Brought in also have materials for it. I was gonna wait till
Perfect.
next
Well,
time. I'll go.
yeah, that will be addressed with the site plan.
Gotcha.
Does anyone have any questions on the consolidation?
Nope.
Okay, need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve, is there a second?
A second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now moving on to site plan, commercial shell building, lot 3, new building totaling 7,206 square feet on 1.96 acres, requested by James Lukens, property located at 5486 Murfreesboro Road, tax map 18B, group E, parcel 5.02, C2 Highway Service Commercial Zoning District, property owned by Jamshid Sharifi, Jamshid Mohibi, and Payman Bayrouzi. So we've got this in front of us. There's something, well, first before I start in on mine, I'll let Mr. Logan go through if they have anything.
So, of course, this is the item that goes along with the plat from the previous item. They are hoping to build a second building of 7,200 square feet, give or take. And I won't go over all the sites since we just did that, but I will show you the building again. So this shows the old slab of the building that was torn down, and then you can see just barely visible is the corner of the existing building. And then this is the site plan that the applicant is proposing. So in this plan, you can see existing building here and new building here, and they'll roughly be at right angles to one another with parking in front of both buildings. And I'll turn it over to the architectural discussion and the parking discussion.
Okay, well, I'll take that. We'll jump on the one real quick thing. It's hard to see on the plans, but this dumpster pad here has been revamped. That's a new wall. That loading area is not there anymore, and there's room for 3 dumpsters. Could you please, Bo, go to 215 and to 231? Okay, the engineer, that big old long list of 20-some-odd comments that I had, he did get all of those addressed. However, there were utilities comments that are outstanding. The problem is that the utility plan? 215. Sorry, told you the wrong number. There we go. Right.
Is this it?
Yes. All right, so they've consolidated these into a single lot, which by our Public Works utility standards can only have one service. So they have the existing service and a new service shown, so the plans are not yet to a state that we could build them as drawn. Now, in terms of the lining up of the driveway, I discussed that with Mr. Lukens, and he has brought some additional information, and he would like to talk with y'all directly about that.
Sir, if you'd please come back up, name and address.
Okay. Jim Lukens, Lukens Engineering, 256 Seaboard Lane, Franklin, Tennessee. If I can pass out it's an alternate plan. As I said before, we had kind of looked at different options for the parking layout, and it was specifically brought up at the technical review meeting a few weeks ago. So this is a layout that aligns the incoming traffic lane with the driveway straight across, and requires, an angle on the parking and everything. I prefer the one we've got in the application, but I want to let you know that this option does work too, and it's really a preference of which one would be preferred. But I like the other one has more parking. I think it's just a little less confusing for the people coming out of the parking area, but it does align, which does address the comment that was raised at the meeting.
Thoughts, anyone?
I mean, for me, I prefer the one you just presented, personally.
Okay.
How many car park spaces did you lose?
I think we lost only 4, I believe.
Mr. Logan, but do you meet the parking
We
requirements?
still meet the requirements,
Okay.
correct. So if you wanted to approve this plan, I'm fine with this plan being approved.
So personally, I prefer this one as drawn for ease of getting through there. As the connection goes to the car wash too, there's gonna be a lot of traffic coming along through there. So for me, it's more safety issue, and I just think lining up makes better sense as far as my personal preference.
Mr. Logan, can you go back to 198, or actually 197? And I just want to bring this up. I only noticed it whenever we were discussing the concept plan, but this applies to the site plan. But the car wash next door is stubbed out to tie in with this parcel. And on the site plan, both of them, it's not tied in. So I just wanted to just understand why that didn't happen. I didn't catch it during the workshop. Go back one more, 197.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that stub there with the car wash.
Are you talking about in the back of the
Yes.
site? Okay, the original plat was approved with the 4 lots all having the shared access in the front. There's no shared access in the back, so I don't know why they terminated that. I think it might just be a dead end, but there was never an intent to combine the two.
Okay. I wasn't part of the commission back then, so I don't know what the thought was with that, but.
So this for Gary, just a question. So the parking lot, they're going with pavers, so they're obviously the existing car park that's already been made for the present building has been blacktop. Now they're going with pavers?
Yes, sir. For this one, they're going with permeable pavers because it does the filtration and the detention at the same time. The presently constructed building had underground detention. So it is 2 different types, but they both fall within our approvable BMPs.
Okay. Gary, have you had a chance to review the alternative?
Yes, sir, I have, and I have got no problem with it. But again, if you gave an approval tonight, it would be a contingent approval because the utility plans are not buildable.
Okay,
So I just want to remind you of that.
yeah. I just didn't know if you had seen this yet or not.
Yeah, he did show, Mr. Lucas did show that to me, and it's fine.
And then, do you want to speak to the utilities as far as those being outstanding?
Sure, sure. The utilities, really, it's basically because the lots are combined, we can only have one service into the site. And I believe one of the comments said there's a stub out at the existing fire domestic meter. So it's just a matter of putting our backflow over on the combined lot line area of the project, and appropriately backflowing it and then running our service to the building. So it's an easy change to make. I know there were several questions that were raised about the existing site, the Lot 4, because it wasn't finished. I don't know why it wasn't finished, but there's several things for that need to be addressed as that project's finishing up too. But it's an easy question. It's an easy thing to address if it's approved with contingent
Staff
on
concurs that
satisfying
it's
public
easy.
utilities.
Yeah, staff concurs that there's no real problem to it. It's not what the plans show right now.
Okay, so we have those outstanding. And then I had a question in regards to the materials board. So pretty much the whole building's going to be this kind of grayish, black, metallic, the whole thing?
No. Do you have the utility? Or not the utility, the elevations?
So the board, I don't know if you look for the board, but it's right in front of the
The brick is here, it's on the columns, and then that's brick. The glass will be kind of a darker colored glass, which is similar to the existing building. And then there's two shades of ephes on the top. And the top is where as the tenants move in and put signage up, they'll put their signage up on the top there. And then there's a kind of a stonish dry cast, I guess is what they call it, that'll go here and along the top. But the dark color is only on the columns.
Okay. That had me concerned that we were just building a solid black building, so
Right.
that would not be aesthetically pleasing. Before there's any motions for anything, I think we need to figure out with the alternative and the proposed, what everyone prefers. Terry?
I like the alternative, the one that was presented.
Okay, Graham?
Alternative?
Carol?
Alternative.
Jim?
Alternative.
Yeah, the alternate.
Okay, I think everyone's looking at the alternative. So, but we still have some items outstanding, and this board traditionally has been very anti-contingency. So I'll make a motion to defer this to next month. This way it gives you time to work on this.
Okay.
And is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Number 20, recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for subdivision acceptance, Portico Place, Section 2, Phase 1, property located off Blair Road, requested by SEC Incorporated, PDR, Planned Density Residential Zoning District. Mr. Logan.
So this is a request for subdivision acceptance at Portico Place, and it's Phase 2, Section 1. It's not deferred. Okay. Let's get to the. Well, since it's subdivision acceptance, I'll just turn it over to Mr. Lyde and let him go from there. Thanks.
Okay, one thing I need to clarify, because I've made some misstatements before regarding this one. This one is very clearly shown, the Blair Road improvements are not shown on Portico Place Section 1. They're shown on Portico Place Section 2. So, what I've said before, we are still holding up the final plat on Section 2, waiting on the Blair Road improvements, but we're kind of outside of what we can do in terms of holding this up because it's Section 1 and not tied to those improvements. So we had a punch list that they have been working through of the items that are in your packet on the punch list. There were 5 of them. They've got all of them except for number 5 done, and that is adding a grate on top of a outlet structure. They've got a workaround where they'll have a temporary grate while they're having the other one fabricated. So that's where we're at on it. That's in terms of the facts. So I would invite y'all to discuss it with.
Do we have a representative for this project? Name and address for the record, please.
850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, and I'm John Miner.
Hello, sir. Can you speak to number 5, the grate?
I was told they were going to have it in, so we will defer a month.
Well, I spoke
probably.
to the developer, and he asked me to explain that to you. It is in fabrication. It'll probably be installed within the week, but it's not there today. That's, again, just the facts.
And I will just say I'm more of the here and now today because, no offense, things happen. We've seen it in the past. I'll make a motion to defer this to next month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Recommendation, Board of Mayor and Aldermen, amend the zoning ordinance, amend Article 4, Section 4.010, off-street parking requirements. Kyle and Bo Logan. Kyle, you want to take this since you've been so talkative?
Mayor, staff's recommending deferral on this. I had Bo send out some information that I made some errors on, so definitely want to get that cleared up so y'all can see what the true numbers would be that we're looking at with some of the different scenarios.
Okay.
Plus, I think y'all had some questions that y'all want to discuss, an additional workshop.
Okay. I'll make a motion to defer.
Second.
Second and third. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to bonds and letters of credit. Ms. Juliet.
The bond list is up to date. There are 2 that are expiring next month. I have reached out to them, and they let me know that they are renewing those soon. So I think that should do it.
Any questions? Okay. Call this meeting adjourned.